Good morning, everybody. Glad to be with you this first Saturday morning of the new year, 2021. My name is Ed Samuel. I'm a career coach with a firm called Sam Nova. We're based in Kennett Square, PA, and serve clients in greater Philadelphia and across the U.S. Hope and pray that you and your family are safe in the midst of this pandemic. We've been in lockdown here in Pennsylvania for almost 3 weeks, and we'll see if we have this latest restriction lifted on the 4th of January, or run the risk of it potentially getting extended. But we sure hope you're doing okay. And it's been some year here in 2021. And one of the things I want to talk about, this morning, is that in spite of COVID-19, in spite of all the challenges at hand, and I know many of you listening, you haven't landed a role yet, or you're out of work, and it's been really hard. But I want to share some stories of success and really cover 13 tactics, if you will, that people took. And I'm not talking about a few people. I'm talking about dozens and dozens and dozens of clients I have worked with, and our company has worked with this year, that has resulted in them landing jobs and moving forward, their career forward in some way. So I thought it would be good to cover some of these success tactics, if you will, and perhaps give you a few new ideas, maybe re-energize a bit, and take a deep breath and just keep at it. And these are all based on real life stories of people who have, moved their career forward in spite of how challenging it's been in 2020. So let's begin with, number one, and the environment that we're in, and, you get let go. A lot of people have questioned, what direction should I go next? Some people were furloughed, and, we've gotten phone calls. Hey, Ed, I'm not being asked to come back. I thought I was, and I've been holding out 3, 4, 5 months. Now they've decided to not let me go. And what else can I be doing in my life? We've gotten literally, I can't tell you how many calls, maybe 60, 70, maybe more phone calls from people saying, hey, I'm not sure what I want to do next. And so one of the tactics that people have done with us, they've completed, a career assessment, and an extensive one that then, and when I say extensive, I'm talking about 550 questions where we take a deep dive in terms of your personality, your interests, your skills, and your values. And we go pretty deep into values. And then we spend, anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours actually talking it through in detail. Now, a lot of times what comes out the other side, will surprises us, surprises the client, but we're really trying to get people to a better place, a new place perhaps. And sometimes all we do, and we just finished one last week with a client, and all we really did is just reconfirm that what they have been doing, they probably should continue to do. But for anybody out there listening, if you're not clear in terms of it's just not feeling right, is there any other path I can take? I encourage you to take a career assessment and consultation. And I'm not talking about the free ones you get on the internet. I'm talking about through someone who's certified, that's done hundreds of these, and has helped a lot of people. It's a great way to get definition. And here's just one example. We worked with one client who was in healthcare, and this client needed to take a new direction. And as a result of going through the assessment with us, that new direction is shifted this person from a healthcare career to actually becoming a police officer in the canine unit. And that's kind of their new career path. So sometimes it could be as dramatic as that. In other cases, if you're in communications for 20 years, you want to, it comes out that you probably should stay in communications. So number one, really think about doing a career assessment, especially if you've never done one, but certainly if you're unclear in terms of what to do next. Now, the second area of success is people actually have made career pivots, literally, and it could be as a result of taking that assessment, or it could be a pivot because their intuition said they needed to pivot. But when you make a career pivot, the real focus then becomes trying to lean on your transferable skills. So one client specifically wanted to move away from teaching and move into instructional design. And they're doing that. They focus on transferable skills. They're getting some additional training. And knock on wood, they're going to be having some interviews very soon on making that type of pivot. And these pivots, many people, and I would say 50% of the clients we've worked with made some type of pivot. So number two, don't be afraid of making pivots because it's really boded well for many people. But that resume has to promote your transferable skills, and it has to be many times revamped quite a bit to really get you to where you're going next, as kind of a way to showcase those transferable skills and influence people's thinking about you, or how to think about you. Now, the third one is that, kind of staying along the same line of career pivots, people can move and pivot not just to a new career, but actually to another industry. Now, we have many, many examples in 2020 of people shifting to a new industry. One person was in food production for, let's say, close to 20 years. A company was purchased. They're reevaluating. They decided to make a pivot, and they did not want to stay in the food production business. Now this person, because of a revamped resume, using transferable skills, leveraging their network, they're now working in e-commerce in a consumer goods arena. And really, it's going to bring out the best of that person. So sometimes, there's a case of a pivot taking place. Another great example is that, someone we worked with 7+ years in entertainment. We're talking about Nashville, Los Angeles, entertainment, but it wasn't the place to be. And certainly because of COVID, not the place to be. We went through an exercise, and this person ended up making a pivot, and now they went into recruiting. So they went from the entertainment industry of music production into recruiting, and is doing very, very well. It's just an amazing case of kind of making that shift. So when you could stay in the field that you're in terms of the function, the job function, and move to a different industry, many success stories again. We've had people do that. Now, of course, you can certainly stay in your industry, but if your industry has been hard hit by COVID-19, you may be forced and out of that industry, but also be open to looking at other industries. And I think for many of our clients who are open to looking at other industries, it's boded very well for them in 2020. Now, here's number four. Number four is where, we always suggest to clients that, even when you don't get the job, even if you come in second or third, end all interviews well, with dignity, with a bit of humbleness, with thanks. And as that James Bond movie, once said, never say never again, right? Never say never. Because what happens is that if you end interviews well, guess what happened to several clients in 2020? Yep, they interviewed, they didn't get the job, but they ended that interview with some grace, very thankful, humble. And what ended up happening was the people that they decided to go with, well, let's just say it didn't work out. And guess who got a phone call? Yep, my clients got a phone call. Hey, are you still available? Because we'd like to bring you back in. And by the way, there won't be an interview. There'll be a job offer. So it's pretty interesting that, when we work with people who are trying to, who try to use that as a tactic, even though you might be angry, even though you might be upset, even though you don't understand why, if you can stay humble and exit it well, and send a note, not to HR, by the way, not to the recruiter, by the way, send it to the hiring manager who decided not to hire you, right? Big difference, by the way. That can come back to bless you. So that was number 4 in terms of a tactic. Now here's number 5, and one that I'm a big fan of, attack the hidden job market. And I'm a fan of attacking, going after the hidden job market, even way before COVID. But during COVID, it's even more important to build relationships with people, especially people that you don't know, to get ahead of the curve. I can't tell you how many people have benefited in 2020 that we've worked with that attacked the hidden job market. We had one client who reached out to 70 people, got 25 responses, I want to say 5 interviews, 3 job offers, and it all took place in about a 3.5, 4-week time frame. Oh, I wish it was that easy with all my clients, including those who are still looking to land. But I also have seen that success happen. I've seen people reach out to some businesses within 5 miles of their home, and lo and behold, the owner of the business actually called them back and say, "Yep, hey, we have an opportunity at our firm. Can we talk?" There was no job application, and if there was one, it was secondary, not primary, in terms of what started the discussion moving forward. So attacking the hidden job market is hard. It's not for the weak of heart. You might actually have to talk to people that you don't know. And sometimes there is not a warm introduction. But if you do it well, it can result in building relationships, leading to an interview, leading to a job offer. Now, here's one that I'm a big fan of, and I could talk hours on this subject. Do not discount acquaintances. Many, many times during a job search, I talk about the fact that we kind of get focused on our best buds, our friends, people that we hold dear. And it's a great strategy, and it's one that I promote and I'm a big fan of. But what ends up happening is that there are people also in your life that you've touched that are almost acquaintances, people that they know you, you know them, but you know what? You would never normally say, well, can they help me? In fact, this year, I've seen many examples of where people that you thought you knew on a very arm's length away end up being bigger fans of you than you would ever possibly even think about. I can't explain it. It's just that, you have a problem. Everybody who's listening, you might have fans that you don't even know about. And the people that you think, well, I really don't know Jim or Sue that well, they might know you well and might know of your reputation, your integrity, who you are. And if you ask them for help, they may step up to help you. And sure enough, I had a client in New York City. We had several in New York City this year. In fact, many in New York City. But one in New York City specifically reached out to an acquaintance who ended up connecting him to a recruiting firm that ended up becoming a contract role that evolved into a second contract role. And that person ended up getting hired, and they made a career pivot all in the same breath. But it would never have happened if they did not reach out to acquaintances. So again, number 6, don't discount acquaintances in your job search. Now, number 7 is a little bit different. Number 7 is don't be afraid or concerned about going after your former firm's competitors and go after them hard. It's sad, but when companies lay you off, and I got laid off from corporate America 16 years ago, 17 years ago, I forget exactly. But when And they gave me a nice severance package. But in the end, after the severance package runs out and after all your bosses disappear, the company doesn't care about you anymore. I hate to say that, they don't. And in the end, it's just you trying to figure out what to do with, to support your career, your family, and move everything forward. But you don't owe them anything. And unless you're under some really severe legal non-compete, and some are, but many are not, do not be afraid of going after the competitor. And because the people who have done that and done it hard, they've done fairly well. And because you got to remember, they let you go. You didn't leave on your own. They let you go. Don't think that you owe them, and don't wait too long to go after your prior firm's competitors. And that's the lesson, because people that have done that have tended to do well in 2020. Now, here's number 8. I want you to be bold when it comes to engaging hiring managers into discussion where they might have a concern. And the example I'm going to use is that I had a client who was really interested in the role, very talented in the role, but yet the hiring manager said, everything matches up well, but you know what? The president of the company, the person who calls all the shots, they don't want anybody working remotely. I mean, not a soul working remotely. And then, so what my client did, which is just textbook, she made an argument, and a very, very strong argument in a case, just like a lawyer would make a case in front of a trial jury about why it shouldn't be an issue. And she did it so well and so compelling that the hiring manager actually took that case and brought it right to the president. In other words, she gave the hiring manager the ammunition she needed to make a case. And guess what happened? What happened was that resulted in a discussion with the president of the company. And that discussion was done so well, it resulted in one final interview, and thus my client got hired. It was a beautiful thing, but it reminded me that when you have a conviction, you can't have a conviction stand on your emotions, and you can't use one or two words to support the conviction. What you need to do is use that as your entry point, the tip of the iceberg, and then provide some detail, some arguments that a hiring manager can use to help make a far better, more informed decision if they're making an exception on you. Now, here's number 9. Number 9 is a little bit different, and I talk about this on different occasions where, if you're employed or whether you're unemployed, there's a period of time where, if you have a window, go kick the tires on things. And when I say kick the tires, it could kick the tires to hang your own shingle, maybe branch out on your own. Maybe it's something that's just completely different. Maybe it's an encore career. Maybe it's something that you never even thought about doing, but you have a window. Use that window to go kick tires, because it doesn't cost you anything other than maybe a couple of hours of your time. We've had several clients this year that we advised, go kick some tires. And they did. And one really neat example is that we spoke to a person who went to go kick some tires, and that tire happened to be, hey, you know what? I think I've done enough corporate America stuff in my life. I want to go do something and run my own business. That person ended up speaking to a franchise consultant, and after some due diligence, decided to open up a franchise that was very hands-on, that's going to make 2-3 times the amount of money that they were making in corporate America. It required some investment, not a crazy investment, but some investment. But now they're off and running and doing something simply that's going to bring out the best of them in even a greater way, simply because they decided to kick the tires. And if they didn't spend that couple of hours kicking tires, they may never be at a far better place now, running their own business in this franchise. Now, number 10, one that you hear about, but one that is so important, create or grow a secondary income stream for yourself. I've had several clients in the middle of transition start a secondary income stream. A client in New York City, while he was working with me as we're doing a job search, he was flipping houses every other day or every 3 days, spending 2 full days on a Thursday and a Saturday and maybe a Monday, and then the job searching in between. I'm a big fan of that. None of that has to go on LinkedIn. None of that has to go on your resume. But while you're going some hard time trying to find that next income stream, getting a temporary one is a good thing. And I even recommend, and I think I did a program of this a couple years ago now, a 3-part series, is even when you do land a job, keep the secondary income stream going in case that company decides to let you go again. Here's number 11, revamp the resume. All I can say on this one is that, the first page of the resume has to be exceptional. My book that I put out, Optimize Your Resume, talks about that and how important that first page of the resume is. We've had many, many clients in 2020. All they did was they hired us to help them dramatically improve their resume, their value proposition. And a lot of it boiled down to the first page of the resume. Several clients got promoted internally. Several clients left their firm and landed with a new firm. Several clients were unemployed. We revamped their resume and it landed them new jobs. But the first page is everything. If the first page is everything, I don't care if the resume is 3 pages long. If the first page is so-so, that's when we get worried that the resume might be too long. Now, number 12, half the people that work with us in 2020 were employed. Yep, they were working. In 2020, they were working. Some of them were at risk. Some of them had no risk, but they asked us to help them see if they can move their career forward. One of the most, our latest example of doing some really neat work with a client is that, we revamped the resume. We helped them with LinkedIn. We helped with net. We helped with everything. But what ends up happening is that all the things you teach someone to do well for an external job search or when you're unemployed, you could apply the same principles when you're working in terms of how you get viewed and how people will perceive you internally. In fact, in 2021, I'll be speaking to something that's really not spoken about, which is we talk about the hidden job market. Well, there's a hidden job market within companies that you work for as well. And we often forget that. But in this particular case, amazing to see several people that we've worked with, more than several, get promoted and stay employed because they've applied some of the same principles of a great resume. And just because you're working does not mean you don't need to revamp and improve your resume, because it can come back to bless you if you stay with the firm and use it internally. Now, number 13, it's a big part of my experience this year is focusing on resilience. And for just about everybody that I continue to work with, we continue to work with, that we worked with, who have moved their career forward, everyone has played has brought resilience to a new level. Many times it's a faith journey, but resilience is key. And staying at it. That's one of the reasons I decided to team up with Stanley Green of the Power Thinking Corp here in the Philadelphia area, who's known nationwide. A big fan of Stanley. In fact, Stanley is one of the only people I've ever partnered with where I'm offering a discount of our services if you sign up with Stanley's Power Thinking Corp. In fact, Stanley has a program every Wednesday 7:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's free to sign up, and you'll get your dose of power thinking, uplifting, practical advice to really hone in on this skill of resilience. Stanley goes through all the emotions that we deal with that kind of drag us down and all the actions we can take to bring us back up. So I think number 13, my clients practice resilience, but I think I encourage and I try to promote all my clients attending Stanley's weekly program and even signing up for his Power Thinking Corp. So those are 13 things that have happened, 13 success stories, traits, actions that have really done well for many of our clients in 2020. And hopefully you can take some of these ideas and thoughts and apply them as you move into 2021. So, we're just about out of time. And for those of you new to the program, I did publish my first book at the end of 2019 called Optimize Your Resume, Do's and Don'ts, the Sam Nova Way. It's available on our secure website. Just go to www.samnova.com and look at the drop down for resume book. You can also get it on Amazon and Kindle, via Amazon, and in paperback and Kindle that way as well. We also added to our website, the Sam Nova website, an events page where I'll be speaking in the next 30 days. And I'm averaging, speaking somewhere, at least once a week somewhere. My next speaking engagement is going to be on Wednesday, January 6th. In fact, I'm going to be interviewed by Simon Meadows, of all things, in the UK as part of their Business Success and Coffee podcast. And I'll be discussing business breakthroughs at Sam Nova. So I love coffee, for those of you who might know me well, but I also love talking about success stories. So it'll be a 45-minute interview. I'm looking forward to it. Go to my LinkedIn page or go to our event page to get more information about attending. And on Sunday the 10th, at 7 p.m., I'll be, again, working with Stanley Green of Power Thinking Corp., and I'll be doing a segment on optimizing your career, your personality, and authentic interviewing. And it's free to Power Thinking members. Guests, it will be $20 to attend, but you'll have to sign up through Power Thinking Corp, CORP.com, all one word, powerthinkingcorp.com. And I'll be speaking at other places like Financial Executive Networking Group in New York City on the 14th. And again, you can get details of how to register and how to attend on our website. So if we're not connected on LinkedIn, please do so. I'm officially, over that 14,000 mark of direct connections. And all you have to do to Google is just put Ed Samuel Career Coach LinkedIn, and I'll be on the first page of Google. Love to connect with you. And join us on our next Optimize Your Career program on Saturday, January 16th, 2021 at 8 a.m. This is Ed Samuel, Career Coach with Sam Nova. If you'd like to reach me with a comment or question, email me at esamuel, ESAMUEL, at samnovainc.com. Or call our main number at 610-274-8214. Make it a great Saturday, and wishing you and yours all the best in this new year. Stay safe, and God bless.